for him to recognize you guys next year, but be super proud that you're not behind in math next year, that you're on top of it, and all your assignments are like up to date. That's the trick. Alright, so in 64, I think the part that most of us are like getting a little bit confused on, but really shouldn't be, is this part that's asking for an expression. You're overthinking it. The expression that it wants us to write down is what is his act, right? So if I start at A and travel the entire distance around, I travel 12, and then I travel 15, and I travel 12, and I travel 15. So you could just say 12 plus 15 plus 12 plus 15, or we could be a bit more efficient and say we traveled 2 12s and we traveled 2 15s. Either way, that would be 24 plus 30, making his total act 54 feet. Labels are starting to become very critical, hence my dry erase board up there. That is completely all about what label do I use.
Wow, that's very good.
Well, thank you.
Wow. John is...
Getting artsy.
No, John on my paper is not very late.
Hey, I'm proud of you today. You didn't spill anything. I appreciate that.
Don't jinx yourself. Don't jinx yourself. We still have a long time.
Somebody came in the afternoon and they're like, it smells like ketchup in
I
here?
wonder why.
It was really funny. It was pretty darn good. Man, worse things have happened. At least you didn't break anything glass. That's like the worst thing that happens is breaking glass. What? There's no such There, I knocked on wood. Okay, what other question? Lucy. What do you mean that? So there are formula sheets on both sides of the room, but also on page 10 of your book. So I flagged it, which actually I told you guys that you should flag it in your book. But on page 10, if you go down and look at trapezoid, but we can also break up the shape. So Lucy, I know what one you're asking about. You're asking about 62, right? Or are you asking on a different homework, like on 431? So actually, let's look at this real quick, so then the next one might... Huh? So this, I know, but this is a trapezoid. So let me just, real quick, when we talk about trapezoids, it involves a rectangle, here a square, and a triangle, or sometimes two triangles. So in where are you at? 431? Yeah, here. In 431, problem 78, I can break up this trapezoid into a rectangle, which is actually a square, and then a triangle. We could use the trapezoid formula, and I'll show that to you. So this is the trapezoid formula. The other way to write it is 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height, because we're averaging out the bases, is what we're actually doing. So if I solve it this way, and I'm going to work upward. Hey, peanut gallery. Sorry if you're not doing this problem. Try to keep the peanut gallery down. I like to use my smaller base as base 1. Here's the other tricky part, Lucy. And I set this up well on this problem. The bases are the sides that are parallel. So it won't always look like this. Back here, our bases were actually these sides. If we look at that trapezoid from our previous homework, these sides are the bases, the left and the right. And most of the time, kids think base means bottom. Remember, in geometry, we can turn things. So here my bases would be 10 and 16. What's 10 plus 16? 26. Half of that, 13, then times the height. And the height is the distance between the bases. So to get from one base to the next base, which here we get told is 10. So we would do 13 times 10. That gets us our 130. And we're going to check these answers and go over this in class today. So actually, for my 3B people, 431 we're going over in class. If you need to do 423 or 424, you should be prioritizing that. Also, 431's not due till tomorrow, so you can still get it done. No, so here, short answer, kind of. It's loosely due today. It should be done today, but for the homework competition, because people came and talked to me, they said, like, hey, that extra day is actually really useful to, like, ask questions and work with you and everything else. So it is no longer our homework today, right? Our homework today is 432, but you still have tonight to finish 431 if you need. But it's like due, it's due tomorrow. Due, because it means poop. I didn't even realize. Jake's like tiptoeing his way across the room.
Hopefully the trash doesn't like. You get it.
What other questions?
461.
Math 8, you can throw questions at me. Sorry, what?
Question 461 on 424.
461 had a typo. So if you did not pay attention or if you missed class when I told you about the typo, this should have been 3/4 of a minute. If you hadn't fixed that, so this is 461, still math 7 peeps. 461, this should have been 3/4 of a minute, which is 45 seconds. So then since they ask us for centimeters per second, we have our centimeters divided by our number of seconds. We put that math into our calculator because it's difficult math. 5.85 divided by 45. 0.13 centimeters every second. Which seems like a small number, but it's every second, guys. And then we would label it centimeters per second. We're going to start to get critical about labels. Labels on rates tend to be tough for people, but it's whatever was on top per whatever was on bottom. Centimeters per second. Vincent? Stop it.
What's that number on there? Like the last digit because it's cut off by the whole thing.
Oh, 210.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, you can always check the book or homework help if there's like a typo or something gets chopped off. It's okay if you don't have C done. I let that be a freebie. But yeah, 1/4 of... So we could actually think this through not too difficult. What's 1/4 of 200? 50. And then 1/4 of 10?
0.5.
Yeah, 2.5. I love the teamwork. 2.5. So it'd be $52.50.
Can we do B?
And guys, that's not that uncommon. For 1/4 of your paycheck to go to taxes and stuff like that, more than 1/4 of my check disappears. And it like goes to taxes and some person named FICA and some, whatever. Sorry, that's FICA is an abbreviation for something. It's.
I thought it was YMCA.
Yeah, that's a different abbreviation.
Can we do B?
Yeah, so I like to break these problems up. Hey, Landon or somebody over there, throw that door shut. Whoa, that was aggressive.
You said throw it shut.
Well,
You did it correctly. Landon's a wrestler. Oh.
You're fine. You're fine. Let me know if you want me to solve some. We still got like 10 minutes. So we're doing 69B. So I like to break these problems up, right? As I keep telling you guys, we're trying to do 1/4 of 128. I think it'd be easier to break up 128 into 120 and 8. Because 120 divided by 4, I can do that not that difficultly. I don't want to say the E word. But what's 12 divided by 4? And then put the 0 back on. 8 divided by 4. So we end up with 32. Eve, do you want to throw a problem at me? Huh? whatever problem you're on, I'll go to it.
For Jack's
I think you're on the homework that you have until, like, next week to do. Yeah, you're on the one that isn't due till next week, which is fine. We can work on this, but let's double check our due dates here, right? 4.3.2 is loosely due Friday, but you can turn it in Monday, right? So the red, this is when it's really due, when it's due, right? So Monday, 432 will be actually due. But let's go ahead and do that problem. So you said 93. Yeah, we're all practicing a bunch of these, so this is good practice. Area and perimeter. Now today, in Math 7, we get way more difficult with perimeter, even harder than these problems. But if I walk around this shape and label all my pieces... Actually, let's do area first. So this doesn't have a label, but I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 inside of that. You with me, Eve?
Yeah.
Did you want A or B or just both? Sure. So remember, area is everything that we have taking up space. The filled in, the gray is positive. So we have 1x squared. 1x for this rectangle tile up there. And a 1. Any questions on that being the area?
Did you say area?
In B, we still have just 1x squared, but then how many x's? We still just have 1x squared, but how many x's? 2 of them. Now, perimeter, I'm going to go ahead and change color to do this. Guys, those of you that aren't doing the problem we're looking at, I hope you're getting something done, because otherwise, why are we here? If I walk around my shape, 1, 1, 1. So then we collect our like terms, right? All of our x's we collect. And we have 4x. All of our 1's we collect. And we have 4. I should see some labeling around your shape, or you didn't actually think this through. Jake, hang on just a second, so I'm going to do one more perimeter. Over here, the long edge for the x tile is x, but the short edges we said are always 1's. So the tops and the bottoms there are the 1's. And then I got x, x, and x. Which, funny enough, this is the same perimeter. Different shape. But the example I used in class today was, could Mr. Smith lay out 2 different ways for you to run a mile? Yeah. So these could have the same perimeter and be 2 different laps, right? This is just one nice rectangular lap. This lap has like an extra little bump out here and then comes back to the rectangle. They both have the same perimeter, though. Does that help you out, Eve? Sweet. Jake.
For 612, 617.
I don't know if I've even put this in my binder yet. Hey, there it is.
The back. Yeah.
This reminds me, I gotta try to get in shape for Mexico.
What?
I was about to say, if that's a surprise, that's definitely a you problem, not a me problem. I'm super excited, but I'm supposed to, like, you know, lose a couple pounds before then. All right, so Frank weighs 160 pounds and is on a diet to gain 2 pounds a week. Yeah, sometimes doctors tell you you're too skinny. Like my grandma right now, she is too skinny. The doctor's trying to help her gain weight. So for Frank's weight, we would say 160 plus Math 7 people. This is not you. This is Math 8. Plus Frank's gaining 2 pounds every... I'm going to go ahead and use W as my variable. Now, one of the other things that's a nice pro tip, look at what you're going to be asked to do before you start doing it. When will they weigh the same? This is Chubby Bunny Kitty. Except don't tell Frank and John that, because they might not like being called Chubby Bunny or Chubby Kitty. So, if John weighs 208, and we want them to equal each other, 208, and is on a diet to lose 3 pounds a week. This is how we set it up, and there's a bunch of ways to solve it from there. Does that help?
I use the. Yeah.
Huh? That's not true. If one person starts at a value and starts going up, and the other person starts at a higher value and starts going down, they gotta meet somewhere. So let's go ahead and, if you guys tell me this doesn't work, I'm gonna prove you it does. What's my secret to when we're, not really secret, but like my tip for first step, if there's a negative variable,
Make it positive.
get rid of it, right? So do that inverse operation. So add 3W to both sides. Check your arithmetic as we're going, guys.
I'm doing this right now because I'm like, oh, I'm on this right now.
Seems like a smart decision. Then what am I going to do? Max, if you're doing it right now, you're going to tell me what to do
Wouldn't it be
next?
5W?
Yeah, might be.
So you're at, what'd you just do? Did you minus 5x? Oh, wait, not, no. you
I
didn't.
added 3x or w
I
or whatever.
already did that. I minus 160.
There we go. Max hurting my feelings saying, oh, I already did that. Mr.
I
Hudson,
did.
you're just
I
slow.
did that, Mr. Hudson. I did that already. You're too slow.
Whoa. Now, did you mean to say it doesn't happen at a nice number?
They don't mean it the same. Like that 9.8.
Yeah, it's 9.6.
So we divide by 5.
9.6.
What would our label be on that? Totally good. We're just about out of time too, guys. 9.6 weeks. But wait, Math 8 people, and then what will they weigh? I gotta substitute 9.6 into one of these equations and find out their new weight.
Wait, Mr. Hudson, what's this? Would I just circle the whole thing or only circle?
I'll step around here and let me see the directions.
It says circle.
Circle terms.
Yeah.
So terms are always separated by addition, right? So this is what I'm trying to double check is, are we identifying that like the 4 would be its own term?
Oh.
The negative 50 times 2 would be its own term. So there are 2 terms here. Because we're going to do this term, and then we can put the terms together, right? Like exactly what you did, but this shows us there's 2 terms. Does that make sense? Thanks, man.
I don't know. Listen.
Yeah.